Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show, Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight world class Asian leaders, entrepreneurs, C suite executives, and allies who provide candid insights from their personal journey to inspire you. And today I'm here with the 90th episode of Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast. And this is your host, Priyanka Kumla, joining you on India's Republic Day. What a milestone day, right? Our 90th episode and celebrating a milestone anniversary of our home country as well. And as a quick reminder, do continue to follow me, Priyanka Komla, and a Career Startup Leadership podcast page on LinkedIn to receive our LinkedIn live notifications. We're also on YouTube. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe so we know that this podcast has really helped you become a better version of yourself. My amazing guest for today is from Indore, yes, India. And she's a one-of-a-kind entrepreneur who's focused on social impact. So let me unveil my special guest. Archana Parsai Gehlot. Hey, Archana, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hi, Priyanka. Thanks a lot for giving this opportunity to interact with many viewers you already have on Career Startup podcast. And really appreciate you bringing out different versatile personalities from different parts of the world, especially Asian leaders. And really, thank you for giving me this opportunity to, be here on the very special day, which is India's Republic Day. I am proud of India and US both, but, yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Archana. And I'm super honored and I'm glad you started with a namaskar, which is our hospitality, right? Atiti Devo Bhava, where we respect people that we meet in our lives. So thanks for that wonderful traditional introduction to our podcast as well. So to our listeners, why should you be listening to this podcast? Well, Archana is someone who followed the American dream, like a lot of us, but there was a pivotal point in her life where she transitioned from her American dream to being a minimalist. And she's the founder of two social impact startups. They go by Asmakam, which is focused on life-oriented education and self-learning. And the other impactful startup is Kotfu, which is connecting through food, focused on natural food for medicine-free life. She's also a mother of two self-learners. We're going to talk more about her kids, Maitri and Atri as well. And a learner who's passionate about education, environment, sustainability, spiritualism, natural farming, and entrepreneurship. Well, she's slowly transitioning into her eco-friendly home, and I'm so glad she took the time to be with us on this very special episode. So thank you so much, Archana.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, drop in a quick hello and the country that you're tuning in from. And if you're interested in any of these different facets that Archana is gracefully handling in life, be it entrepreneurship, natural farming, leading a sustainable, eco-friendly, minimalist life, well, she's offering a free 30-minute mentoring session to one lucky live listener. All you have to do is just drop in a question or a comment or a hello, and we'll take care of the rest. All right, Archana, I'm going to dive first into your life. You spent almost 20 plus years living your American dream, working for Oracle in the US, and I know you've been a Midwestern girl all your life. When did you decide to pack your bags and leave to India, leaving all this secure, happy, stable lifestyle, trying to figure out your roots with Mother India?
Yeah, Priyanka, I think I'll start with something which, I think all the seeds are sown into the childhood. And I'm blessed to be coming from a Gandhian family. My grandfathers did, participate in the freedom struggle of India. And my parents raised me with a lot of spiritual and emotional values based on Bhagavad Gita. So selfless work and selfless love, they have been practicing all over their life. I think those values, I was always, it was in subconscious mind, back in the mind. And we also got connected with a beautiful family led by revered Panduranga Shastri Athwale. We call him Dadaji. But basically practicing Gita, Ved, Upanishad, and our Vedic life by learning scientifically and logically about all our life. So those seeds are there, those practices are there. And one fine day, I think is when you start finding the purpose of your life, and if, like, you don't want to be in a blind race anymore, you start thinking. And I started having this conflict in the values I was raised with and the things I want to do with the work professional life I have been doing. um, I really enjoyed my work in mainly retail domain. But when I started thinking about all this consumerism, how this greed is affecting, how we are getting emotionally challenged and having a lot of issues with uh, the materialism in our life, I think the values, our life is made of three parts: material, emotional, and spiritual. And all today's system is just focusing on materialism. So I started like the this values and the work I do. We were helping and supporting retailers to grow their business and spread more consumerism in the world. Every day I was thinking that I think I'm being hypocritic, because in work life I'm doing something which is supporting consumerism. Other hand, I want to be leading a very simple and minimalist life. And one day, suddenly, my husband was shocked that I resigned in 2013 from my career. And coming back to Bharat was always decided from the day one when we landed in US. So we started thinking about that, and rest is a beautiful journey which our family as a whole is enjoying a lot here in Bharat.
I like the way in which you're happy with how you've transitioned your life. And, that's a very grateful way of looking at things as well. But let me ask you this. You've been a minimalist. How do you define minimalism for our listeners?
Sure. I think minimalism is a word which we have given recently, but when I look at the nature, and even in the ancient time and even until now, our mothers have been always minimalist. They knew how to be on zero waste. They knew how to optimally use all the resources they had got. So I think from that angle, I think minimalism for me is to be creative and make things what you use, or just take a nature as an example. Nature is the greatest teacher, where we are in there is nothing waste in the nature. So everything, one creature's waste is used by other creature. If we look at the example of trees or soil management or different other things in the life. So I think minimalism for me is to be rethinking and like introspecting about the needs in your life, and how you can balance out that with abundance of nature available, and using your creativity, how you can you know be not be greedy and accumulating the things, but using everything to the fullest in a very wise way, I would say.
That's very true. Let's acknowledge our live listeners. We have Satya K, who's joining us from India. Hi, Satya. Welcome to the show. So, Satya has a question about what are 3 tips that you can give to be
Mhm.
a minimalist? Like, where do you get started and how do you make these incremental changes in your lifestyle?
Sure. Yeah. So I think first tip I would say, I being a very creative in nature, which I found out after I left my corporate career. Even in the childhood I knew, but because of the conventional system where we are making our career studying into the big premium institute that is called the definition of success, that part was hidden for last 25 years. But I think becoming creative and finding the different solutions and making things on your own, you make it to use it, I would say. So for example, that results into zero wastage or very low wastage, I would say. So if you are cooking for yourself, you don't want to waste that, you use that food. But if you bought it from other, like outside, you just throw it. So I think that is the first tip I would say. Second tip I would say, start small, and just rethink real needs. Don't go by, don't get influenced by the market or capitalism or greed, but you just start thinking what is my real need. And probably not having the mentality to show off that certain things you do just because everyone else is doing. So just be mindful on what exactly you need. And the third thing I would say, try to become self-sustainable, self-reliant, and independent. Would be the three tips which can take you to the path of minimalism. And I think it is inbuilt in our nature as well as nature. So our whatever the type of personality we are all also called nature and the outside nature. So just try to be in sync with inner self and outer nature, and you will find your way. I think that's what I can say.
Thanks for those three amazing tips, I should say, Archana. Now, you talked about being in sync with nature. Let's talk about
Uh-huh.
being in sync with your family members, your husband. You have two teenage kids, Maitri and Atri, and your husband, Manish. How have they
Yeah.
been instrumental in embracing this kind of a minimalistic lifestyle? Because you need their buy in order to have a happy
I know.
family together, right?
Yeah, I think I'm that way. I'm very blessed, Priyanka. My husband is very supportive in whatever, and basically it's both of us doing. But uh, somehow I have taken the lead because I left my corporate career and he was into corporate until last year. So I've taken the lead, but I would say it's as a family, I'm representing my family here, even my extended family, who have been very supportive and doing helping me a lot. But educational values or sustainable values or minimalism, I think uh, got a lot of support from my both the children as well, um, because I have given them the ownership of their life, so they just love it.
That's amazing. So let's talk about Asmakam, which is focused on reimagining life-oriented education. And
Mhm.
Atri has never been into school. So tell us a little bit about how life works as self-learners, especially for kids.
Sure. I think when we started thinking about education and started thinking about generally not in spiritual angle, but I think everyone thinks about what is life is all about. What is the purpose of my life? Why I am here? Who am I? And when we start thinking that, probably both of us, my husband and I, thought the current system is not going somewhere which can be a sustainable way, as we also I think realize after COVID especially more. But before that also many people are thinking that what we are doing, are we on right path? So as a family, we are a democratic family and we used to discuss so many things. And um, we Maitreyi went to school until 8th grade when we were in US. And then we started thinking that whatever the life oriented education you want, which really works in the life, because even being from the IIT mechanical engineer, I never worked in mechanical engineering, so I picked up IT and I did very well in that field as well. So I thought, if you want to learn anything at any age, that's not a big deal, you can learn. So why to restrict the education into academics and the closed walls only? Why can't we give the time? It's their own time, our children's own time, means we are not the owner of them. So why can't we give them this freedom? And we started uh, talking about this. And one fine day we said, when we are going back, transitioning into India, probably homeschooling and unschooling route, and we are okay if you don't want, if you choose don't not to go to school. And they happily picked up. It's not that I thought that's a great idea and that we as a IITian can impart more than schooling system, so you just come out of the system and make you will make your career great or whatever. And Atri was a child even from the beginning. He showed those you know those he gave those signals that he is not the person who would go and sit in a school environment and
Not the traditional path
yeah,
of
yeah.
education.
So he wouldn't wake up. He would, even in the preschool when he was there like for a year or so, he would wake up at 10:30. He said, I don't want to go to. So 4 days in a week he was skipping the school. So I thought, okay, you are on your own. You decide what you want to do, and
Well,
this
it's
is how it is. Yeah.
it's a lot of power that you're giving to your kids to make decisions on their life, their career, and helping them understand the impact of some of the choices that they make, because they're too young. They must have been too young when these choices were presented to them. As a parent, do you get any kind of peer pressure from family or extended community of people who look at you and not look at you the traditional stereotype, right? People think of the American dream, the IIT dream, which is IIT is one of those prestigious institutes in India for some of our listeners who might not be aware. So
Yeah.
you were following this radical path. And how did you get that courage to do it?
Yeah, I think even people call us crazy. I just posted on LinkedIn this morning that we transitioned, we moved back to Bharat in the stage when they were. Many people want to come to US for the studies, or they want to send their children, and not peer pressure, I would say, because uh, everyone who knows me and Manish personally in our family also, they know uh, what we are up to. So they knew that any decision these people have taken, it's not nonsense decision, or means they are not ruining their kids life or whatever.
It's a
But
well thought through
yeah.
decision.
And everyone who knows me, that I am very strong, means I do my proper research work before I take any extreme action. So that was totally understood by many, but outsiders definitely thought that we are crazy family. We are going to ruin their life, and what I don't know what is going to happen to their life, but until now I think we are so happy with the growth they have they have shown, and in like spiritual, emotional, and values and everything else. So yeah.
And R3 recently did a short film, right? An internationally acclaimed short film. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure, yeah. So when we started doing this self-learning out of our farmhouse in Indore, we have a mud house. We used to have a mud house at that farmhouse where these kids were in nature and doing whatever they liked. They will just be on their own, I would say. No one forced them to do or to follow any discipline or learn any subjects, even being unschooled. So one day we were sitting, we had a lot of books, like we all are book lovers. So why don't we open this space for people to come and read books, and anyone to explore, because everyone we were meeting, they were convinced that system is not working, and there are a lot of issues with the schooling system. I wouldn't say education, because I always quote Mark Twain on this, that I don't want to interfere my education with my schooling. That clearly proves that education is different, and it's happening 24/7. Learning is happening 24/7. We don't want to restrict it by schooling. So we started having interactive sessions with the parents, because they wanted to know, they were curious. In city like Indore, no one had heard about homeschooling or unschooling. So they were, and basically being from IIT probably adds a lot of
Pressure.
respect. Yeah, and they thought that these guys are from IT, they have taken any decision, so that might be good for. So slowly Asmakam started, and now it's a place where so the last gift, sorry, I went on different track, but basically being a creative, and my son started showing some interest in filmmaking, and I wanted to take this message, awareness message, on how expressing a child's grief and frustration in the current system. We wanted to express via visual medium. So I started writing this script, and he started doing the caricatures, and he was a very good like in the sketching, and so in 10-15 minutes, based on my script, he made all the cartoons and everything. And 6 minute short film we made with lot of passion and lot of love and efforts and all the emotions. And we thought that this film will give a message in a bottle, big message in small package, and people will start realizing what we are doing with our children, and how we are killing their creativity, how we are killing their emotions. And so this film, Atri did the narration part. He was the kind of art director, and couple of my friends who are into cinematography, they helped with that. And we never expected that this film will be chosen for international film festival, and also will win a award into New Delhi Short Film Festival. So yeah, I think everything in my life is love letter from God. I think it that way. That
That's an amazing way of looking at things. And congratulations to R3, whenever he's watching this show as well. And he knows how proud you've been of him.
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your harmony with nature. Kotfu is another social impact startup where you're connecting nature
Yeah.
and food. So tell us a little bit more about the thought process behind that startup.
Sure. So Priyanka, I always think that once you start working on your inner self, your outer self starts growing, you know, parallelly, and you start making so many, and everything is so much integrated with each other that in India we call jaisa khai anna vaisa hoy man, or you are what you eat. So as part of the education, I think uh, means making your mind strong, and your emotions and values and different things, we thought that this is something, we. And another reason for doing this is my daughter's, she is so much passionate about cooking. She is a great chef, I can say, though she hasn't gone to any formal school yet. But I always insisted and encouraged them to do put their ideas into action, and how it can have a greater impact. And startup is a process where I think it's a very good and most important part of learning different things. Even if you fail on something, I think 1 year of that process, even 6 months of that process, teach you a lot. So I was sitting with my daughter. She was ready to go to Chicago for University of Chicago for joining her psychology, BS in psychology. And I started talking to her that why don't you work on something which will make home chefs, especially our dadis nanis recipe, how we can have something like which is kind of Airbnb for food, where people are going to each other's house for homemade food, and prepared with the natural ingredients. So first it started with the home chefs working and inviting people for dinner through the platform of Kotfu, connecting through food, because connection is something, personal connection is something which we are missing in the society. So I thought that would be a great way to connect people with each other, because food always makes this strong connection. And the second thing, for natural food and farmers, it was added because I reversed my diabetes of 16 years. I was a diabetic patient for 16 years, but last 4 years I have been not taking any medicine. So when I changed my food, I did autophagy water fasting in a place called Sehat One. I reversed my diabetes. I reversed my body age as well. So I thought, making people aware of the natural food, and also giving the platform to natural farmers, which they have been working hard. Their hard work is not recognized. They are not getting the right price for the family. So why can't we connect them to directly with the families who are using? And in that process, we can actually optimize the cost and price for families, as well as farmers can get right price for their hard work. So these two angles started building the Kotfu. And during the COVID, actually we have worked a lot, making this work with the farmers and families directly. So that is another angle of connecting through food.
Hey, that's amazing, Archana, because you're going back to the roots. Because if you look at our ancient forefathers, right, we had this concept of uh, treating, uh, food for strangers, giving strangers food,
Yeah,
especially when they were traveling, travelers, people who come from different places. That was just a natural way of connecting with people and creating this tribe. And I'm
yeah,
so glad you're looking at revamping them, especially in this fast-paced world of capitalism, I should say. So
yeah.
thank you for bringing in some revolutionary old thoughts, which we have to reawaken ourselves sometimes. No,
That
when you
also goes back to minimalism, that like, zero wastage, because most of the time in Indian families we cook food, and there is enough extra food where 2 or 3 people can eat. So I thought, why don't we make optimum use of the person who is cooking, and at the same time they get connected to another family, so why can't we?
that's such a fascinating experience. Now, when you look back at your journey, uh, the last few years since you've been in India and as well as in the US, what is one thing that you're very proud of as an accomplishment?
Sure. Priyanka, I think I could minimize the gap between the thoughts, words, and action. So, hypocrisy, I would say, like, it's the gap between the conviction and action. So I think I feel accomplished that I tried to minimize that gap of what, because there are so many things everyone means, there are all great things everyone knows, everyone wants to do it, but they can't put it into action. So I think my biggest accomplishment would be that I could actually start, I could take that first step to start, walking, following my heart, and trying to reduce that gap of um, big ideas and thoughts and words and action. So that is, I think, I would say, it's I feel so happy about that.
That's amazing to hear. So, Archana, when I look at your career journey so far, you come across as a happy-go-lucky person who's doing what she aspires to do, has the support of people. But have you had low moments in your life, and how do you pivot yourself when life throws you some lemonades? I should say lemons on your way.
Yeah. I make lemonade out of them. But
Perfect, right?
anyway, yeah, yeah. But I think being spiritual and convinced about and practicing Gita's thought of positivism, optimism, and I think the one thing Gita says, that you are responsible for your pains and sufferings. It's Uddhared Atma Atmanam is the shlok. So you are the one who can make or break yourself, I would say. So whenever there is some dull moments or low moments, it happens in everyone's life. I think positive outlook from Gita, and believing in universe, that whatever is right for you, it will come. If it is not coming, then it's still time for you to, and taking this as a learning, big, very big learnings in the life. I People say that I always smile, and they remember me this way. So I think I just being very optimist in nature, and believing 100% in God and universe, and I'll get what I need, or what is right for me. That belief brings me out of the dull moments, I think.
That's a fascinating way to pivot yourself when you go through those ups and downs of life.
Yeah.
So, a quick reminder to our listeners, I know a handful of listeners are tuning live. So, drop in a quick hello and the country that you're tuning in from. If you have a question on leading a minimalistic life or want to know a different side of Archana, feel free to drop a quick question as well. And there's one lucky listener who's going to win a free 30-minute mentoring session from Archana herself. All right, Archana, we have Satya who says, nice interview and interesting. Thank you, Satya, for that quick acknowledgement. I'm curious about your eco-friendly house, and especially I got a sneak peek of the door of your house that you created with eco-friendly materials. And I know you
Yes.
and Manish are like hands-on working on these entrepreneurial skills as well as some life skills like building a house. So
Yeah.
tell us how you feel about the eco-friendly house and when are you transitioning?
Yeah, sure. So, as I said, I just love making the things by my hand, and zero wastage is what. When as soon as the construction started, whatever this team were working, like masonry team and carpenters and plumbers and the floor guy and everyone, I just kept you know accumulating the things, even tiny tiny things, and they were wondering, because they have never seen anyone taking so much interest and being actively participating into the things what Manish and I doing. So they love, and we love talking to them. So we just give a lot of respect to them. because of their skills, which they don't think anyone treats them this way. So we just treat them as our divine brothers, and they love it. So we Manish and I, especially in pandemic, Manish also got the time to be very active and involved in the project, and I being a person who wants to learn everything, because I want to do everything by my own hand. And what a best opportunity I got when we are building our house. So it's totally sustainable and eco natural house we have built, with minimal amount of concrete being used. We didn't cut a single tree in the area what we build house at Asmakam. All the trees, and we planned our house according to those trees positions, so it came out very nice. And this would be also used as a self-learning cafe and co-working and co-learning space at Asmakam as well. And we also build our residence, like personal residence on second floor. But it's beautiful material, local material we have acquired, stones, and any like not many chemical based things we have used. And enjoying learning carpentry, learning masonry things, building walls, and doing flooring and everything. So we just love to be there and involved into the hands-on activities there. And soon I already started sharing the pictures of what we are doing. Wastage wood door, which I'll be making tomorrow. I have just set the design there. But all this wastage material, otherwise they were using it for just they will burn the wood. So I asked them, just keep even tiny piece of wood there. I'll be using, and you come back in a month and see where I have used, because they were laughing at me. Oh, madam, what will you do with all this scrap wood?
Scrap wood.
Yeah, it's for burning. Just give it away. I said, means if they want some fuel to burn, like neighbors, I can give them LPG or whatever, CNG or whatever, but don't burn the bricks, the
The
wood.
wood.
I'll be using it. And and
I
they
know.
feel so happy, because their work is very monotonous, and when they see all these creative things, they just love it. So yeah.
You should be an amazing client for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to our listeners, so where can we follow you and get a sneak peek into your different creative skills?
So yeah, we have our websites and Facebook and Instagram accounts in the name of Asmakam. Self Learning Cafe is our new initiative, which is coming soon. Very soon, we are going to launch it in public. But it's again a platform where self learners and parents. So basically, four pillars of education system: learners, parents, facilitators, and the platform. They can all be in harmony, and they can support each other, create a beautiful community of uh, life oriented learning, I would say. So it is a hybrid platform we are building, collaborating with different learning spaces across India and abroad as well. How we can all connect with each other and learn different things. uh, yeah, so this is and house project, I would soon be creating some post on a smart like other social medias are there, but we'll be sharing the document soon, how we have built this house. And Manish and I would really love to interact with anyone who is interested in building this sustainable house. We can share all our experiences.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that wonderful nugget of information in terms of how you've looked at life, how you've transitioned into a very happy state of being. We have a fun rapid fire round for you. Are you ready for it?
Yeah. Yes.
So you tell us the first thing that comes to your mind. I know it's going to be one sentence long, as you promised me. The first question being, who's your role model?
Yeah, so my role model is my father, who lived his life with all the values, and also my spiritual father, Panduranga Shastri Atwale, who is the biggest philosopher, greatest philosopher of our time. He's no more, but they have very great impact on my life. Yeah.
How do you define success, Archana?
So I think I would say it's satisfied inner self in the with the harmony of outside environment. If I'm satisfied from my inside. I think that is the definition of success.
You always look happy with a smile on your face. How do you do that? What's the secret?
I don't know. I just I don't know. It just comes naturally. So I give that credit to my mother and father.
What is one fun thing about Archana you haven't shared anywhere and it's exclusive to our listeners?
Sure. Yeah, I think my family finds my dance moments very funny. I don't know how to dance. I am not a good dancer, but still, when everyone is enjoying, I try to do that. But it's funny, so they find it fun.
Hey, it's nice to have the dancing, creative skills, the happy-go-lucky smile. That's all you need in life, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, our
Yes.
last question to you: what is your native language, and one word to describe your name in your native language?
My native language is Hindi, and Archana is basically worship. So Archana is a stage of worship. There are different stages of worship. So Archana is one of them, and uh, I'm fearless person. I would say I can describe myself as a fearless.
Hey, we saw it throughout the episode. Thank you so much, Archana. It was such a pleasure to get to know you, your family members, your dreams and aspirations, and we wish you the very best as
Yeah,
you go into this journey of helping others succeed by building a sense of community. Do you have any parting thoughts to our listeners?
sure. Thanks. First, I would like to let everyone, all the listeners, know that Curryup Startup project has been doing a great job bringing different life stories which we don't get to hear from any other media. So I really appreciate Priyanka herself is a technologist, a technology leader and speaker, and like she is a versatile personality, which I found out in different episodes when she starts asking questions to different people, her profile, and I would love to meet her sometime. But please share the podcast, subscribe to, and we get to, like, this is a nice way of interacting with people who are actually um, doing like walking on a different path, and it's a versatile list of leaders she is bringing in. One podcast I was really impressed when father of a rare disease child, I was just what how did you think that, like, that is not a normal professional would do, but so you are bringing life stories, and I just really love that part. um, Very fortunate to be here on the platform, engaging with all of you, and anytime I am available to gift, you know or share my gifts, whatever the experiences and skills and things I can help anyone to support that. The other thing, I think, for the listeners, I think, reimagining and redesigning your life or education, because everything is so integrated, I would say. How we can start looking at things from growth versus prosperity perspective. We are all talking about growth, but are we becoming prosperous? So that is one question I wanted to bring to everyone's notice. Also, how we can become like consumption versus creation. I think when we start consuming, we start killing our creativity. So creativity is something, if we consume more, we become less creative. So I would request everyone, all the parents, everyone who is listening, just try to bring that creativity in your life as well as your children's life. Also, how we can move from transaction to transformation. There are multiple forms of wealth. We just now understand just one currency, or one way of transaction, but there is multiple ways of wealth, or multiple forms of wealth available. Just try to think what they are and how we can start using those instead of just doing all the transactions. I think that would be all. The last thing is that start looking at the world, not the word, for parents who are insisting their children to be excellent academician, like excellent in academics. Just start learning by the world, but just minimize the learning by word. I would say like that
The
is what
textbook's
my
form of
experience. Yeah.
learning. Right. Thank you, Archana. This was very insightful, and it's really rekindled a lot of our thought processes about how you look at life. So thank you so much for being an amazing guest, and we wish you all the very best as you transition into the eco-friendly home, as you look at building new avenues and communities to bring people together, especially during these challenging times. So kudos to you on that. And to our listeners, hope you enjoyed this very special and a very different episode. And as Archana pointed out, we try to bring in real life stories, which will make an impact, which will help you, take a step back and think about, okay, look at someone who's following a different unconventional path. So I would say the best takeaway that I've got from this episode with Archana is look inwards at your life to reassess how you can connect with nature and put yourself in a better state from a spiritual, emotional, and a physical standpoint as well. So thank you so much, Archana, for those wonderful takeaways. And I have my listener, Satya, who says, really great episode. So thank you so much, Satya, as well. Thank you, Archana. And so we're going to keep the free mentoring session open to our listeners. So if anybody who's going to watch this on replay, or if you watched it on live, drop a quick question or a comment, and we'll pick one lucky listener. And for our listeners who are hearing this on a podcast streaming platform, do give us a like and subscribe so we know that this episode has helped you become a better version of yourself. Thank you so much, Archana. Until another episode with another interesting guest, this is your host, Priyanka Kumla, signing off from Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight world-class Asian leaders, entrepreneurs, innovators who provide candid insights from their personal journey to inspire you. And join us next week. So we'll be streaming live Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So follow us for some interesting episodes by subscribing to me, either on YouTube. So give us a like, subscribe there. And if you're on LinkedIn, follow me, Priyanka Kumla, as well as the Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast page. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of the day.